Blazer, former Vice
This is Fox 5 News at 10.
Remembering a trailblazer, former vice presidential candidate Geraldine Ferraro loses her battle with cancer. A look back at her distinguished life and career. A Hollywood actress's brother murdered in Maryland. Tonight she's talking to Fox 5 about the devastating loss. But first, a winter weather alert. The calendar says spring, but snow is on the way. Gwen Talbert's been keeping an eye on the latest computer model. She's got the details now. I can't even get it out. I'm so upset by this snow thing.
I know, everybody is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, March came in like a lamb, but it seems like it's making its exit pretty much like a lion.
It's doing a lot that I don't want it to do.
I think you're not the only one.
Yeah.
Tell me, we could start a club on the people that don't want to hear about snow at this point. But let's get right to it. Here's a live look outside for you. Right now, not much happening in the skies at all, except some clouds, and they are rolling in. Nice, beautiful shot there of the cathedral. A great day so far on tap is what we've been dealing with, but things are definitely changing. So let's begin with a look at our maps and show you what's happening. Right now, as you can see, satellite radar composite, what we're seeing are clouds, and plenty of clouds. A little precipitation to the south of us, but the clouds are what are dominating right now across our area. But we're going to look at the big picture for you. So we begin with a look at radar, and we're going to show you where this active system is well here to the south of us, where it's creating an awful lot of activity here. Some pretty strong storms have been kicking up, watches and warnings all across the south, and heavy pockets of rainfall as well. And with this system, there's an upper level disturbance, and that's going to be what's going to head through our area as we move through the course of tonight. That upper level disturbance. Take a look here to the north. You can see some snow already moving its way through. Let's take a look at True View, a little closer shot for you. As you can see, snow pushing its way from Illinois through into Indiana, and moving its way as well just towards the extreme southwestern corner of Pennsylvania. So a little bit of mix here to the south as it brushes through Ohio, but all of this is pushing its way right into our area as we move through into tonight. So let's go to our weather maps then, because we do have a winter weather advisory in effect. Temperatures playing a major role. All that colder air is in place. This advisory in effect from 4 a.m. Sunday morning until 4 p.m. Sunday morning. This entire region that you can see here that is colored in blue is under that advisory. So what are we talking about? Well, the snow is going to start to move in because the temperatures are really going to dip well below seasonal into that colder air with all that moisture pushing its way through. It begins in the overnight hours, continues into Sunday, and we're going to see some slick spots as well. More details later. Maureen?
All right, thank you, Glenn. While we're not expecting a lot of snow, road crews aren't taking any chances. Tonight in D.C., about 160 plow trucks are taking to the streets overnight. In Virginia, a fleet of 400 trucks will be keeping roads clear of slick spots. And in Maryland, crews have been out pre-treating highways before the snow begins. Well, two things that certainly do not mix, snow and cherry blossoms. It is a big weekend for tourists down at the Tidal Basin, and that's where Fox 5's Roz Plater is live tonight with more on how the weather could hurt this annual tradition. Roz?
Maureen, $130 million over a couple of weeks or so. That's the estimate of what these guys are expected to pump into the local economy. So it's no wonder it's not just tourists tonight asking, will the blossoms survive? It is a beautiful night, and no better way to spend it than strolling around the Tidal Basin, taking in the cherry blossoms.
I would like to see like those beautiful flower cherry blossom because I love the smell and how the way they look.
Never mind that most people and their dogs are all bundled up.
This weather is so unpredictable. One day nice and the other day cold. It's such a big variation.
And to top it off, there's snow in the forecast.
Because I don't know anything about cherry blossoms, I was kind of worried once it snowed maybe it might kill them or something, so I wanted to get to see them before maybe the snow did anything to them.
In fact, that's what a lot of folks are worried about, but the Park Service says they're hoping we dodge a bullet.
The overnight low temperature tonight and for the next couple of nights is really the critical factor that we're looking at. The overnight low, if it's below 28 degrees to 30 degrees for an extensive period of time, that's time to worry. Now, the one thing that is helping us is the fact that the blossoms are not all the way out yet. They're maybe a third of the way out, maybe even a quarter of the way out. So that's helping us. Snow should not really hurt them at all, and especially if it's only this wet snow or heavy snow, that may pull some of the blossoms down that are out, but it really shouldn't too much.
Well, in fact, now one impact the weather will have is that Blossom Kite Festival, which is scheduled for tomorrow, will be postponed. We're told they're announcing a new time on Monday. Maureen?
Roz Plater on the Tidal Basin, thank you for that. For the latest weather developments, head to myfoxdc.com. There you will find the forecast and information on snow preps and road conditions. Just click on the weather tab. A trailblazer in American politics has died. Geraldine Ferraro, the first woman nominated for U.S. Vice President, lost her battle with cancer. Tonight, a look back at her life and her accomplishments.
I proudly accept your nomination for Vice President of the United States.
A trailblazer for women in politics, Geraldine Ferraro made history as the first woman to be picked by a major party as its vice presidential candidate. Geraldine Ann Ferraro was born on August 26th in Newburgh, New York, to a family of Italian immigrants. 2 of her 3 older brothers died at an early age, and tragedy would strike the family again when her father died of a heart attack when she was 8. After graduating college, Ferraro became a second-grade teacher, and it was while as a teacher she put herself through law school, graduating with honors in 1960. She married John Zaccaro, a businessman and realtor, shortly after law school. Ferraro opted to keep her maiden name as an honor to her mother. In the 70s, Ferraro became active in local Democratic politics and shocked many when she won a traditionally Republican House of Representatives seat in 1978. While serving 3 terms in Congress, Ferraro quickly made a reputation for herself with the Democratic leadership. And in 1984, she made history when Democratic presidential candidate Walter Mondale chose her to be his running mate.
I will ask the Democratic Convention to nominate Geraldine Ferraro of New York to run with me for the White House.
Mondale would later say it was a risky move.
I knew I was taking a chance, and I figured this might reshuffle the deck and we might make a game out of it.
Initially, the pick seemed to work as Mondale pulled even with Reagan after the convention. But an investigation into Ferraro's husband's tax returns stole that momentum away. And although the allegations were never proven, the damage was done. By the time the election was over, Reagan won in a landslide. Ferraro continued to have a role in public life, representing the U.S. at international conferences. In the 90s, she ran for the U.S. Senate from New York twice, but lost in the Democratic primaries.
In December of 1998, I too was diagnosed with a blood cancer, multiple myeloma.
In 2001, Ferraro revealed she had a form of blood cancer called multiple myeloma. Ferraro became a tireless advocate, raising awareness and funds for research into her disease. Refusing to give in to cancer, Ferraro worked on Hillary Clinton's failed presidential bid in 2008. She voluntarily resigned after being accused of making allegedly racist remarks to a newspaper about then-candidate Barack Obama, whom she said would not have been as successful if he were white or a woman. Obama would later say she wasn't a racist, but Ferraro was clearly upset.
I feel very bad for people who thought I was a racist. I really do. This has been the worst 3 weeks of my life.
When Sarah Palin was chosen as John McCain's running mate, Ferraro said it was wonderful to see a woman on the national ticket, noting that she did not want to be the only one. 2 years later, they met in person on election night in 2010 in the roles as political analysts for Fox News.
The opportunity that I and other women following you have been able to seize, that's just been wonderful. It's been great for our nation.
Geraldine Ferraro survived by her husband, 3 children, and grandchildren. Well, many people here in D.C. have personal memories of Geraldine Ferraro, including WTOP radio host Mark Plotkin. He is joining us live with his memories of this political pioneer coming up in our 10:30 segment. In other news tonight, a Montgomery County police officer says a suspect would not stop coming toward him, so he had to fire his gun. The officer was called to a jewelry store at the Northgate Plaza shopping center this morning after the manager reported a man acting strangely. She said she thought that man wanted to rob her.
He was acting in a threatening manner. He was acting erratically. He was not there to make a purchase from her, and when she asked him to leave, he would not leave, and he was going towards the back room where she knew her purse was and other items.
The Police found the man with a broken glass bottle in his hand. The officer tased him, but the man reportedly didn't flinch and kept moving toward the officer, who then fired his gun. The suspect is expected to survive. Mayor Gray has given the green light to a big hike in cab fares. As of Monday, taxis in D.C. will charge an extra $1 for fuel for any rides within the district. It's good until the end of July, but the Taxi Cab Commission can ask to end it earlier. Coming up, demonstrations at the White House today, an anti-war group and others protesting the crisis in North Africa and the Middle East. Her brother's life was cut short by a killer. Tonight, a Hollywood actress talks to Fox 5 about her family's loss. A lot more still ahead as this Saturday edition of Fox 5 News at 10 continues. Stay with us. A Fox 5 follow-up tonight. A man trying to protect his family and neighborhood shot to death in Temple Hills, Maryland. Tonight, his sister, Hollywood actress Denise Lawton, is speaking out about her family's tragedy. 31-year-old Gregory Lawton was gunned down outside his home Thursday night. Fox 5's Matt Ackland has the story of this terrible loss.
My brother was a family man, as a father of 3, a son, a brother, amazing uncle.
Gregory Lawton was taken from so many who loved him when he was shot outside his home along 23rd Parkway in Temple Hills.
It's heartbreaking to hear certain details that I wish I didn't know.
His sister Denise Lawton, who has appeared in many TV shows and movies, found out about her brother's death on Twitter. She left Hollywood right away to be with her family. She told us on Saturday she believes Greg died because he was trying to protect his family and neighbors.
He was the guy that would go to the guy and say, hey, do what you're going to do, but do it somewhere else. Don't do it here.
Prince George's County Police will only say it was a dispute with a neighbor that led to Lawton's death. They arrested James Allen Payne, a neighbor now charged with first-degree murder. Lawton's father, a retired police officer, knew that his son had complained about illegal activity in his apartment building in the past.
I do know that at one time the county police was called, and then over a period of months things start to escalate.
The information, I'm not even seeing any of them anymore.
Denise prefers to be in front of the camera, smiling and making people laugh. But as she fought back tears, she said she wanted to speak publicly about her brother's willingness to stand up for those he cared about.
This is the reason why people don't come forward. This is the reason why people don't take action in neighborhoods, is because they're afraid that this is going to happen.
Greg Lawton was working as a security guard and was in the process of trying to become a police officer like his dad. But Denise says her brother's main focus was always his family.
He was the life of the party. He always found a way to make people laugh, even when you wanted to cry.
In Prince George's County, Matt Ackland, Fox 5 News.
Turning now to the ongoing crisis in the Middle East and North Africa and the wave of anti-government protests. Several demonstrations outside the White House today. Members of a local anti-war group, the Answer Coalition, showed their support for Libyans who they say are under siege at the hands of leader Muammar Gaddafi's forces. It's been more than a month since clashes in Libya began. The group refers to it as the genocide of Libyan people. Bahraini citizens living in the U.S. held their own rally. They want to restore unity to Bahrain. Security forces there have been firing tear gas and pellets at rebels. Despite reports of anti-government protesters being harmed, these demonstrators came to show their support for the king.
We want to say that we love our king. We want him to stay. We're against all the violence that happens in Bahrain, but at the same time, we're with the government, not against the government.
Demonstrations outside the White House also saw about 150 people holding signs and chanting, favoring reform in Yemen. During the past 6 weeks of anti-government protests in that country, security forces have either withdrawn or have been forced out by residents. To Syria now, where security forces killed dozens of people during a week-long assault. Demonstrators have flooded the streets of Syria calling for freedom. Fox's Rena Ninen has more.